Your last name is?
Hofbauer.
That's your daughter.
Yes.
17?
Yes.
Mr. Denham, you first met Miss Hofbauer, according to your complaint, years ago. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that was in Minnesota?
Yes, it was.
Where you were both living?
Yeah.
How old are you, sir?
31, ma'am.
And how old are you?
40.
You have 3 children?
Yes.
How old are they?
15, 17, and 19.
How old were you when you met the defendant?
19.
And how old were you?
I was 30, 31.
Doesn't all add up, but close. And you had a physical relationship. Is that right?
Yes.
Then you moved to California.
Yes.
In what year did you move to California?
I moved out of town first, and then I later moved to California right after. But I was about like 8 years into that.
Okay. And then somehow you and Miss Hofbauer reconnected. When was that?
I was around, it's like November of 2022. It was the year of 2022, I know that for sure. I'm not quite sure of the date, but it was in...
You reconnected how, on the internet?
Yes.
And according to what I read, you became close again, and you decided that you would move back to Minnesota, where Miss Hofbauer lived with her 3 children. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Only under the conditions of what I was doing for her, of course.
All I made was a stark statement, which was you decided to go back to live in Minnesota with Miss Hofbauer and her 3 children.
My apologies, yes.
And she didn't have any money. She had lost a job, she says. She was struggling financially. Where were you living, Miss Hofbauer, when you were having this internet romance with the plaintiff?
In 2022,
No.
Oh.
Just answer my question. Where were you living?
In my car.
With your 3 children?
Yes.
So you sent her $6,200 in order to find a place to live for herself, the 3 children, and you were going to join them. That's the story that I'm getting. Is that right?
Yes, and it was also to fix her car, too.
But you sent $6,200, and you do not deny that he sent you $6,200.
Nope.
No is the answer. And with that $6,200, you found a place to live, a rental.
Yes.
You put down month's rent, month's security, last month. How much was it that you put down?
$3,500.
And what did you do with the rest of the $6,200?
I fixed my car. I needed...
Just a second.
I'm
You
sorry.
fixed your car.
Yeah, fixed my car.
Yes.
And bought household, like, some furniture and household items I needed.
In what month and year did you move to Minnesota, Mr. Denham?
October 27th of 2023.
And in what month did you get the apartment? Was that also in October?
It was before that. It was in August is when I moved into my apartment.
The apartment he paid for? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you moved in August 1st?
Yep.
Yep,
It was
it's not an
October.
answer.
Yes.
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 It's an answer. And he joined you a couple of months later.
Yes.
You were working in California?
Yes.
What kind of work were you doing?
I was working for a company called Con Global. It's a car shipping port. I was shipping Teslas.
Did you have a job waiting for you in Minnesota?
Yes, I did, but it fell through. But I later ended up getting a new job.
In Minnesota?
Yeah.
So you were there at the end of October, and you were there the month of November, living together, and the month of December.
Yes.
On December 31st, which is New Year's Eve, you were cooking.
Yes.
What were you cooking?
I was cooking tacos
For whom?
for the family.
Had you gotten a job, Miss Hofbauer? The answer is either a yes or a no.
No.
So you did not have a job from the time you moved into the apartment until December 31st.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And Mr. Denham was supporting you and your 3 children, because prior to Mr. Denham, you were living in your car.
Yes.
All that is true.
Yes.
So you were cooking tacos.
Yes.
And what happened?
Okay, so the meat had just got done.
No, just a second. You were cooking tacos, and what happened?
And he got up to get his food first.
To get his food first?
Yes.
And?
I had felt some type of way.
You speak slowly so that I can hear you.
I had felt some type of way when he got up to get his food first.
What did she, just a second, what did she say?
She felt some type of way when he got up first
Well,
to
what
get his
kind
food.
of way? Don't speak. What kind of way did you feel when Mr. Denham got up to get his food first? And I want you to speak slowly so I don't have to use an interpreter.
I felt like aggravated, like because, like, I feel like he shouldn't have got his food first. Like,
That he should not have.
no, because, like, I was raised that in my house, the lady eat first before men. That's how I was raised. And I felt some type of way when he got his food first.
Okay, so you were annoyed, some type of way.
Yep.
An unhappy type of way. An unhappy type of way when he went to get his food first, right? Uh-huh is not an answer.
Yeah.
Yes is an answer.
Now, I don't have any idea what a young man is doing, getting himself involved with an older woman with children like this and deciding that he wants to take all his life from California and move himself to Minnesota. Like, that's already a crazy thing. And then decide to take care of a family where if they're making tacos and it's for everyone to eat, and you just happen to get up and start serving yourself, and it happens to be before anyone else does, aka the ladies, suddenly there's an issue. Now, something is telling me that these two right here, these two ladies here, are somewhat of a user, and they're probably using men in order to get themselves by. I mean, if you're living in your car and you have children, you know, I understand times are tough and there could be opportunities that are thin for someone like you, especially an older woman who has children and your time is limited. But there's something telling me that there's a lot of, I'm not going to help myself succeed in this type of situation. And it's really odd to me that when you have someone who's seems to be pretty nice and he's a great looking guy, suddenly he's deciding, I'm going to take care of you guys, I'm going to send you money and help you get a roof over your head, and you're upset because he gets tacos first. Something's not adding up here.
Okay, so what did you do? What did you do?
I walked away after, and then he started arguing with my mom.
No, you said something. Look at me. Turn your body around, look at me. What did you say to him when he got up to get his food first?
I said, you shouldn't be able to get your food first. And then I said, you shouldn't be able to get your food first. I was yelling, I was mad. I was like...
You were yelling and you were bad. Just a second. That's better. Because it's like I was there,
Yes.
right? Like I
Yeah.
have a camera inside.
Yes.
So you started to yell at Mr. Denham because he was getting his food first.
Yes.
I want to ask you this question. You had now lived in the household with Mr. Denham for 2 months.
Yes.
Had you ever heard your mother and Mr. Denham arguing?
Yes.
What did they argue about?
Money.
What was the argument about?
It was about him trying to say that my mom has to give all the money that he gave to my mom back to him.
Okay, so that they were arguing about this $6,200.
Yes.
That he said, you have to give that back to me.
Yes.
And your mom said...
My mom said that she didn't...
No. Think. He said, you have to give that money back to me.
Yes.
And your mom said what?
No.
No. And that's what they argued about.
Yes.
Yes. So now you're telling me he's got to wait to eat dinner.
Yes.
And you were yelling at him.
Yes.
You yelled at him first.
Yes.
And then what happened?
After I yelled at him, he went to the bed to sit back down to eat his food. And then that's when my mom stepped in to defend me because he was still arguing with me.
Just a second. He sat down
Yep.
on the bed to eat his food.
Yep. Yes.
And then your mother came out and he's sitting eating his food.
Yes.
And what did your mother say to him?
Nothing, because like we were still arguing. Me and him were still arguing.
What were you arguing about? He was eating.
He was eating, and he also said that he spent $50,000 on me by myself. That's what made me really mad, because like I don't like when people throw money in my face. And then he was trying to throw money in my face, trying to say he spent all the money on me, and he never spent nothing on me.
Well, you were living in a house he paid for. You were eating tacos that he bought.
Yeah, but
You were living in Minnesota in December, where it's very cold, and he was paying for the heat, right? You were driving around in a car that wasn't working, that your mother had fixed with his money.
Yes.
All of those things are true, right?
Yes.
Okay. That might have entitled him to take his food first. So he's sitting and eating. Your mother comes over to defend you because you're yelling at him about he's taking his food.
Yes.
And then what happened?
And then after that, him and my mom started arguing.
Okay. Was he still sitting on the bed eating his
Yes.
food? So he's sitting. Is your mother standing or sitting?
She's sitting on the bed too.
So she's sitting on the bed and she's yelling at him and you're yelling at him.
And then I went in my room And then I let them argue. And then they were both yelling. And then that's when they got, I don't know what happened, because I didn't see him slap my mom really like that. I went in my room, and then he just slapped my mom, and then that's when I came out there.
Well, you said you didn't see that.
No, I didn't really see, like...
Just a second. You'd said, I didn't see that.
No, like, I ran in my room, after I heard a little bit of it going on, I ran back out there. And, that's when I ran out there to call the police. I ran in the hallway, called police, and he ran out there after me, and he snatched my phone out of my hand and hung up the phone and said, don't call the police.
And?
And then after that, I ran in and did a neighbor's house and called the police for them to come because he was trying to take my phone and said, don't call the police when he slapped my mom.
You didn't see that?
No.
No. Somebody have a police report?
I do.
I'd like to see it. You have the district attorney's dismissal of your case?
I wasn't able to obtain it.
Okay, but it's over.
Yeah.
Your case is over. It was never tried. Did you speak to the police that day?
Yes.
Well, you just told me a story, then the first couple of lines of the police report are different from the police. I'm just telling you.
Yes.
The first few lines of the police report are different. You said you were raised that a man doesn't take his food first, they eat last. That's what you just told me, correct? She can read that back. That's why Whitney is here.
Yes.
You told the police that you argued about how much food he took to eat. How much food? Not that he went first. So that wasn't true, right?
Yes. Yes.
Well, this police report is interesting. It says that you got involved in this argument and you poked him in the chest and punched him in the right eye. That's what the police report says.
Oh, I did not.
That's what the police report says. And then he slapped you on the left side of your face with his right hand. That's what the police report says. Is that what happened, sir?
No.
Well, you want to tell me what happened?
I'm going to tell you exactly what happened, Your Honor.
Well, that's what I want to hear, exactly what happened.
I was cooking the food since the beginning. The Nan was nowhere to be found. I don't even know where she was at the time I was cooking.
You mean the daughter?
Yeah, the daughter. It's 8 pounds of meat. It was me, her, Danae, Samantha, and the other teenage daughter, Danae. Cooking the food, just cooking it. It's done. No one's trying to eat. I even said it was done. I scooped up my food, one taco, sat down and started eating. She goes in there, scrapes the pot. Damn, Dino, why you eating up all the food?
Who said that?
The daughter. Then she starts going off, telling me demands, telling me I need to get the out of her house.
Is that what you said to him?
Yes, it is.
Shh. Is that what you said to him?
Yes.
Okay, and?
Or she's calling the cops. And she started calling the cops. So I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you calling the cops? I'm not going anywhere. I've been paying all the bills, this, that, and the other. She just kept on going, and she ended up actually calling the cops. And I'm telling her, get off the phone. What are you doing? That's when her mom started jumping in the conversation. She started tripping. And once I brought up that I just helped you guys out from being stranded, this woman punched me in my face twice.
You let go of her hand.
I wasn't even trying to smack her. I was trying to, block her from punching me. And I guess the block was like a smack to her. But I didn't smack her.
Okay.
It was like my fingertips.
Whatever.
nipped her.
She put her hands on you first.
Yes.
That's what it says in the police report.
So we just heard his testimony, and to be honest with you guys, I actually do believe that it is in fact the true one. I do feel like all of the details that he laid out was very straightforward, and he wasn't messing up his words or anything like that. Now this young lady here, she seemed like she was trying to make things up on the go and started to kind of stumble over what happened because she clearly was trying to think up of things and make up the story. His story sounded way more reasonable and more realistic. I don't know anyone that would be mad, especially get that angry with someone who is financially supporting them only to say, I'm upset with you for eating first. It makes a little bit more sense if they're cooking and then he ate everything. One of them gets upset because there's not enough food to eat because maybe there's been scarcity in their life and suddenly now there's an abundance because this guy is paying for them. But I think that the story stands up straight. What we're going to have to find out is if in fact it was true that he was included in the cooking and it wasn't just her, because that's going to see if we have a hole in this testimony and whether or not Judge Judy's going to rule one way or the other. So let's continue watching and we're going to hear what happens.
Now, you were arrested, charges were dismissed. Ultimately, that case is over. Am I correct?
Yes.
This is what you're suing for. And I'm not even asking you. I asked your daughter. So I'm not going to ask you about the event. I'm just going to ask you as follows. It is true that August, September, October, November, and December, he supported your family.
Yes.
It is. That would be true. And if I believe your daughter, if I believed your daughter, which I don't, it would have been rude of her
Yes.
to say to him, what are you doing eating that food first?
Yes.
Would have been rude of her.
Yes.
And when she came to get you, did she come to get you or did you hear her?
I was in the living room. I was out there.
Okay, so you were there. So
Yep.
you heard what happened.
I saw everything,
Your
yes.
daughter was rude to the man who was taking care of you and your family. He hadn't been rude to you.
Yes, he was.
Tell me when he was rude to you on December 31st.
He was rude earlier all day that day. He's had an attitude the whole day.
Okay, now, when the police arrested you, how long were you held?
I was held for 3 days.
3 days. From December 31st through January 3rd?
Yes.
And it is your claim that in addition to the $6,200, which your daughter actually acknowledged was a loan because you had been asked to repay it over the entire course of him living there. And that's what you fought about. Look at me. That's what they fought about. Your mother returning the money that he had sent her to get started with her children. They fought about that.
Yes.
That's what you said before.
Yes.
Now, between December 31st and January 3rd, when you were released, were there charges made on your credit card?
Yeah, he spent all my money.
Just a second. Well, I would like to see that.
I also filed a police report about my stolen wallet.
Just a second. So now I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, Ms. Hofbauer. Between December 31st and January 3rd, did you take any money or use any property that belonged to the plaintiff?
I did. I had
Just a
his
second.
permission.
The answer is yes.
Yep. Yes.
And I assume you had no communication with him while he was in jail.
No.
So you didn't have permission to take that money.
Can I say something?
You had no permission to
I
take
did,
that.
though. I had his card before. And
Whether you
I
had his card before or not.
He gave me his card a couple days before that. That card was in my wallet. And I also have text messages asking his dad to come get his stuff, his wallet. Like, come pick it up. Nobody stole his wallet. Because there was an OFP.
Shh. Who are you?
Samantha Neely.
What do you have to do with this case?
I was there the night of the argument and the assault and pretty much a witness because I'm over with...
Was she there?
Yeah, she was there.
Okay. Now I want you to be real careful. Do you understand?
Yes.
Really careful. You can stand up. Who was cooking? Who? Careful what you say to me. Just be real careful.
Dino.
Because you got here from Minnesota.
Yes.
I assume you want to get back to Minnesota.
Yes.
You lie to me, you don't get back to Minnesota on my dime. You understand that?
Gotcha.
Who was cooking?
Dino.
Point. He was cooking. So far, we're doing okay. And when he was finished cooking, he took his food and went over to sit down where?
Onto the mattress in the living room.
Okay. Now, when he took his food, what did she say to him?
She yelled out loud, "You're taking too much food. You shouldn't eat first. Kids and ladies should eat first."
And what did he answer?
He answered, "There's enough to feed everybody."
There was nothing wrong with that, right?
Right.
Right. When did she tell him to get out of their house?
Right then and there.
Right then and there. He said, there's enough to feed everybody, right?
Correct.
And she said, get out of my house.
Correct.
Now you can sit down. You can go home to Minnesota. You see, the witness says you're a liar. Do you understand that, don't you? Huh?
Yes.
Your witness, $6,200. How much was withdrawn in total, Mr. Denham, while you were incarcerated?
14, 23, 13.
Did you finally get a job?
Yes.
When?
2 months ago.
Months ago, that would be February. Well, meal ticket was gone. How to get a job. Okay, 7623, counterclaims dismissed. We're done. Goodbye.
This court is adjourned.
And I'm just tired of dealing with it. I'm just glad it's over with. Justice is going to always prevail, man, and the truth is going to come out regardless. So I cared about them, you know what I'm saying? I had real love for them, you know? I didn't want to have them out here suffering. I got history with them, so it just killed me that they betrayed me like that and trying to screw me over and think they're going to get away with it. I'm going to get a restraining order. Like, I don't want to ever see him again. It definitely bit the hand that fit him.
I really appreciated Judge Judy's take on this and the way she handled this case, because I do feel like these ladies were definitely using this man for his money. And then when he was there, they were biting the hand that fed them. Because if this man wasn't involved with them and wasn't willing to use his hard-earned dollars to support them, then in fact, you know what? This wouldn't have been a good scenario for these ladies. But for some reason, they've decided, I'm going to just be so upset with you, and I'm going to be mad at you, and I'm going to, tell you to get out of my house. The audacity. Now, I want to know what you guys think about the topic of we were raised that the children and the women eat first and the men eat last. Because in some ways, I feel like, sure, you could say that that's a cultural thing that maybe you were raised with. But I would suggest that in my experience, not in my household or not even in the households I grew up in, but in a lot of households I've seen and witnessed in a lot of different cultures, it is actually the man who, after long days of work and all this stuff, and maybe he comes home and, it's late, he gets the first pick of the meal because that's just how it works in those households. And if you think about also even in the animal kingdoms, that actually is the case then as well. The man, the alpha, the leader takes the first pick. And, I don't know if it's necessarily a wrong thing, but I also don't know if I would say it's the right decision either. It's whatever works for your family. But in this situation, I don't think that they had the right to be upset with him for this. So I want to know what you guys think about this case. Do you think these ladies were ungrateful? Do you think this guy is a lunatic for even considering to do this with himself and his money? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments down below.